this has been preceded by very intense discussions, of course, by the ad hoc expert group. And of course, we're here convening under the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, UNECA, so the Sub-Regional Office for Southern Africa. And of course, we are being hosted graciously by the government of Zambia. I'd like you to give, please, the government of Zambia and UNECA a very big round of applause for all of the hosting that they're doing for us. Of course, we have delegates here. We have experts from all over Southern Africa, representatives from Angola, Botswana, Eswatini, Lesotho, Malawi, Mauritius, Mozambique, Namibia, South Africa, Zambia, Zimbabwe, my own country, and representatives, of course, from COMESA, SADC, the AU Commission, other UN agencies, civil society, academia, research, and of course, the private sector professional bodies.
This year's gathering holds particular significance as we convene under the theme addressing the energy deficient in Southern Africa through investments in new and renewable energy technologies to reduce energy poverty and accelerate sustainable industrialization and structural transformation. Our collective presence here speaks to the unity and shared purpose of Southern Africa's member states. Together, we are determined to tackle the pressing challenges faced by our region and to explore innovative avenues that will drive sustainable development, empower our economies, and improve the lives of our people. This year's theme underscores our commitment to tackling energy poverty while fostering a shift towards a green, resilient, and inclusive development. I'm confident that your deliberations will inspire innovative solutions, laying a foundation for transformative initiative. May this conference be a resounding success and may it generate impactful outcomes for us all.
On behalf of ECA and of course on my own behalf, I extend a greeting to all of you who have joined us for the 30th session of the Intergovernmental Committee of Senior Officials and Experts, ICSOE. This year, as already mentioned, we are convening under such a timely theme on addressing the energy deficit in Southern Africa through investments in new and renewable energy technologies to reduce energy poverty and accelerate sustainable industrialization. This year, our ICSOE meeting aligns with the global momentum generated by the Conference of Parties to the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, COP29. Which focuses, of course, on taking the global stock take, but also accountability and action. Thirdly, we will also review expert recommendations, and this will be basically pulling from the recommendations that would have come from our discussions on Monday from the experts segment of this session. And finally, this meeting will also contribute to shaping the future initiatives for ECA. And in this regard, we will be introducing the theme for the 2025 Conference of Ministers of Finance and Development and gather your inputs for shaping that particular agenda. The theme, as mentioned, reflects our recognition of the profound energy crisis in Southern Africa and its impact on national and regional development. Access to reliable energy is vital for economic growth and human development as it facilitates enhanced productivity, value addition, and the creation of the much-needed jobs, I must say, in the region.
This year's session will interrogate energy access issues in Southern Africa, focusing on supply of energy from new and renewable sources, and the role of governments and other stakeholders in developing and implementing policies for development of the energy resources and for accessing the energy. The United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, through its sub-regional office for Southern Africa, for the impactful contributions it is making to regional socio-economic development through the support of member states and other stakeholders. The theme for this year's ICSOE tackles one of the key enablers in industrialization in the face of climate change. As we deliberate on this important subject, I urge us to reflect deeply on the region's vast new and renewable energy resources and investigate how these can support the clean and just energy transition, as well as help reduce the region's energy deficit for both productive and consumptive purposes.
On behalf of the United Nations country team in Zambia, I must say it's such an honor to deliver remarks at the 30th session of the Intergovernmental Committee of Senior Officials and Experts of Southern Africa, the ICSOE. Zambia is hosting this meeting, as we've heard, at a time when the country is experiencing the energy crisis, as the country's hydroelectrical power has been severely affected by the worst drought in decades. The experience has clearly shown how energy services are a powerful engine of economic and social development. And as we know, micro, small, and medium-sized businesses account for 97% of all businesses, contributing 70% to GDP growth and 80% to employment creation. So that in itself, you translate to figures, just shows you the magnitude and the impact on the economy. At a macro level, the crisis has also impacted manufacturing, mining, and other major sectors. We have already seen the revision of the GDP from the originally estimated 4.7% to 2.3% at the end of this year. This is a significant drop, which is certainly not good for the economy. However, there is a silver lining in the dark cloud that we are experiencing, and that we see it with the accelerated uptake of solar energy, a renewable energy source that represents a source of hope for Zambia as the country accelerates its adaptation to the fast mounting costs of climate change effects. The role of renewable energy in the wider context of climate change cannot be overemphasized. Climate change is here with us and has caused devastation to many lives. The climate crisis is without doubt a humanitarian crisis. Our economies are facing significant risks due to the climate change. And the experience of Zambia, as well as the experience of many other countries in Southern Africa, is evident to this.
Distinguished guests, today we confront a challenge that is as pressing as it is pivotal: the energy deficit that has long plagued our region. The chosen theme on addressing the energy deficit in Southern Africa through investments in new and renewable energy technologies to reduce energy poverty and accelerate sustainable industrialization and structural transformation is not merely a discussion point. It is a call to action, as it also responds to the critical challenges facing the energy sector and slow implementation of the SADC industrialization strategy and roadmap 2015-2063, amongst others. Your Worship, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Southern Africa's energy deficit is more than a statistic. It is a barrier to our growth and prosperity. With a weighted average of around 56% of SADC population having access to electricity. So this reliance threatens our environmental sustainability and our ability to meet the global climate goals. It is clear that a transformative shift towards renewable energy and low carbon forms of energy, such as natural gas, is not just beneficial but necessary. It is worth noting that currently in the generation mix, coal-fired power plants contribute around 60%, while hydropower-based on installed capacity is at 24%, and renewables are occupying less than 10%. Indeed, this is a clear sign to ensure that there's diversification in the region. In this context, distinguished guests, this forum's focus on renewable energy technologies is both timely and critical. Southern Africa is endowed with abundant renewable resources. As Director mentioned earlier on, we do have solar, wind, hydro, and geothermal that remain underutilized. Harnessing these resources offers us a path to not only close our energy gap, but also drive sustainable development, enhance energy security, and reduce greenhouse gas emissions.
The theme, addressing the energy deficit in Southern Africa through investments in new and renewable energy technologies to reduce energy poverty and accelerate sustainable industrialization and structural transformation, responds to the continent's quest for continued sustainable growth and development. Indeed, this theme tackles one of the key enablers of industrialization in the face of climate change by providing member states and all stakeholders in Southern Africa with a platform to discuss how the region's vast new and renewable energy resources can be harnessed to support the clean and just transition, as well as help reduce the regional energy gap for both productive and consumptive purposes. This theme is timely, especially at this time when many countries in the region are grappling with serious energy deficits, mainly due to the impact of climate change, which has significantly undercut hydroelectricity generation. The Southern Africa region, like the rest of the continent, is well endowed with abundant resources, including solar, hydro, wind, and geothermal, resources that can and should be harnessed to accelerate the transition to renewable energy as a matter of necessity and agents to not only address the current energy deficits that the region is grappling with, but also to spur industrialization and sustainable economic growth and development, and also to create jobs. This will require cooperation by member states and leveraging partnerships among development partners, the private sector, and other stakeholders. For instance, COMESA Secretariat and the World Bank signed in December 2023 a financing agreement for the implementation of a multi-phase program called Accelerating Sustainable and Clean Energy Access Transformation, ASCENT in short.
Southern Africa faces a significant deficit that continues to constrain economic growth, development, and industrialization. In fact, for far too long, energy poverty has held back our region's potential, leaving many communities without access to reliable and affordable electricity, and limiting the ability of industries to expand, modernize, and thrive. The industrialization and structural transformation of Southern Africa is in fact contingent upon addressing this energy challenge. Now, at the African Union, we recognize that the path to overcoming energy poverty lies in a bold shift towards renewable energy and other innovative technologies. Our region is blessed with an abundance of renewable energy resources. We have solar, we have wind, we have hydro, we have geothermal, which, if harnessed effectively, can help us meet the energy needs of our people and our industries whilst promoting environmental sustainability. Investing in those technologies will not only reduce our dependence on fossil fuels, but also create new opportunities for green jobs, innovation, and inclusive economic growth. The decarbonization path will become much clearer. Honorable ladies and gentlemen, the African Union's Continental Strategic Plan, Agenda 2063, emphasizes the need for energy access as a cornerstone of economic growth, social equity, and environmental sustainability. Furthermore, our collective vision is guided by the African Common Position on Energy Access and Just Energy Transition, which recognizes that energy security is essential for achieving the Sustainable Development Goals and African Union's Agenda 2063.
This 30th ICSOE comes at an opportune time when severe impacts of climate change are being felt in our region and impacting on livelihoods and disrupting our development endeavors. It is in this context that we gather today to reflect on the impact of the crisis and also to innovate practical solutions for fast-tracking progress towards attainment of the Sustainable Development Goal number 7 to ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. I am pleased to note that the ad hoc experts group, which met on Monday and kick-started deliberations on leveraging renewable energy resources and financing climate action for a just energy transition in Africa, effectively held its meeting. On the matters discussed, it is important to share experiences of other countries in the region and beyond, and to enable us formulate long-lasting solutions that will support our development endeavors. As leaders entrusted with the vision of a more prosperous future, it is incumbent upon us to respond decisively and collectively to deliver progress for our region.
As we reflect on the past year, you will recall that when our committee last met, we were facing multiple global crises that continue to impact our economies even up to today. The escalating crisis in the Middle East, coupled with ongoing geopolitical tensions stemming from the Russia-Ukraine war and the lingering effects of COVID-19 pandemic, has added a layer of complexity to our efforts toward economic stability and growth. In addition to these challenges, ladies and gentlemen, the impacts of climate change, particularly the recent droughts exacerbated by El Nino, have significantly strained the region, leading to 44.8 million Southern Africa Development Community citizens, both urban and rural, being declared food insecure this year, 2024. Energy poverty remains a significant barrier to development. Approximately 50% of the Southern African population, and we've heard earlier, over 600 million people across the continent lack access to electricity. 600 million people lack access to electricity. That is a very serious matter. Underscoring the need for a diversified renewable energy mix, such as solar, wind, biogas, and geothermal energy represent promising alternatives. But their development, ladies and gentlemen, is often hindered by limited investment and a lack of enabling frameworks. expanding into these renewable sources could be one of the quickest and most cost-effective ways to bridge the energy gap and advance our development goals.